At 3:15 p.m., Elon Musk tweeted, "Feeling generous? Send Bitcoin and I'll send it back." Doubled. Within minutes, millions of dollars began to vanish. It started quietly, like a storm building beneath a calm sky. On July 15, 2020, while most of the world was stuck at home in the middle of the pandemic, one teenager in Tampa, Florida, was about to make history. Not with a computer science degree, not with a team of expert hackers, but with charm, patience, and a few clever messages. His name was Graham Ivan Clark. He was only 17 years old. While his friends were sleeping or scrolling through TikTok, Graham sat in his dark bedroom surrounded by 4 glowing monitors. Code and admin dashboards lit up his face. His phone buzzed constantly with Discord messages. He wasn't breaking into any building or vault. He was breaking into Twitter. He typed, "We're in." 2 usernames replied almost instantly. They called themselves Rolex and Chewan. On the other side of the world, they stared at their screens in disbelief. They had just gained control over one of the most powerful platforms in the world. Verified accounts, admin tools, and direct access to celebrities, politicians, billionaires, all of it right there, waiting. For a few seconds, no one said anything. It was like standing in the middle of Fort Knox with no guards around. Then Graham said the words that would change everything. "Let's run a crypto giveaway." It sounded ridiculous, something scammers did in YouTube comments, but this was different. These tweets would come from real verified accounts: Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Apple, Barack Obama, the most trusted names on the internet. At exactly 3:15 p.m., the first tweet appeared on Elon Musk's account. "I'm feeling generous because of COVID. All Bitcoin sent to my address will be sent back doubled, only for the next 30 minutes. It spread like wildfire. Within minutes, the tweet had thousands of likes and retweets. Then the same message appeared on Bill Gates' account, then Apple's, then Barack Obama's. The internet froze. Something didn't feel right, but by the time people started to doubt, it was already too late. Over the next 30 minutes, more than $118,000 worth of Bitcoin poured into the hacker's wallet. Hundreds of people, ordinary users, crypto fans, even business owners, had fallen for it. Inside Twitter's headquarters, chaos erupted. Phones rang non-stop. Security teams scrambled to understand what was happening. Verified accounts were suddenly tweeting the same message, one after another. The engineers thought it was a glitch at first. Then they realized someone had broken into their internal tools. For the first time in history, Twitter did the unthinkable. It locked out every verified account on the platform. Celebrities, companies, even government officials couldn't tweet. The entire system froze for nearly 2 hours. Meanwhile, in Florida, Graham watched the world react in real time. His chat with the others exploded with excitement. "Bro, this is insane! Look at the news! We're trending everywhere!" They laughed watching headlines appear within minutes. "Massive Twitter hack! Elon Musk and Obama accounts compromised." What the public didn't know was how simple it had all been. Graham hadn't used any advanced malware or brute force code. He had used something far more dangerous: social engineering. Weeks earlier, he had contacted Twitter employees through their work chat, pretending to be part of the company's IT security team. He told them he needed their credentials for a system verification. Some employees believed him and entered their login details on a fake website he sent. That gave him full access to Twitter's internal admin panel, a hidden tool that allowed staff to reset passwords, change emails, and verify or suspend accounts. Once he had that, he didn't just have access to 1 or 2 users, he had God mode, total control over the entire platform. The Bitcoin giveaway wasn't even his first idea. At first, he sold rare Twitter usernames, short one-letter handles like @Y and @Dark for thousands of dollars in cryptocurrency. But then greed took over. He wanted something bigger, louder, and faster. The crypto scam was meant to be his masterpiece, a heist pulled off in broad daylight, right under the world's nose. But the louder the noise, the faster the response. FBI cybercrime units immediately began tracing the transactions. Bitcoin is anonymous, but every payment leaves a trail. Blockchain analysts followed each transfer, mapping them like breadcrumbs. Within hours, the FBI had narrowed it down to a few wallets connected to exchanges. One mistake gave him away. Graham had used one of his personal accounts to transfer a small amount of Bitcoin before. That single connection was enough. The FBI followed the trail straight to Tampa, Florida. On July 31, 2020, a SWAT team surrounded his apartment complex. It was early morning. Neighbors watched as armed agents stormed inside. Graham was still in his pajamas, sitting at his computer. They found phones, hard drives, and flash drives. Everything labeled, everything neat. The news spread as fast as the tweets had. Teenager arrested in Twitter hack. The world was shocked. The hacker who had taken control of presidents and billionaires wasn't part of an international syndicate. He was a high school kid living with his mom. He was charged with over 30 felonies: fraud, identity theft, and unauthorized computer access. Prosecutors called it the most significant social media breach in history. His lawyer argued that he was just a kid who found a vulnerability and exploited it, but the scale was impossible to ignore. Eventually, Graham agreed to a plea deal. He was sentenced to 3 years in juvenile prison, followed by 3 years of probation. He would be banned from using computers without supervision. The other two hackers, Rolex and Chewan, were also tracked down and charged, but the details of their cases were less public. Graham, being the youngest, became the face of the crime, the digital ghost who exposed how fragile the world's communication networks really were. After the arrest, Twitter overhauled its entire internal system. Employees could no longer access admin tools from personal devices. Every internal login required multiple layers of verification. But no software update could undo the damage to public trust. For millions of users, the illusion of security was gone. What scared people most wasn't that someone hacked Twitter. It was how easy it had been. No complex malware, no supercomputers, just a few convincing messages and a human mistake. Cybersecurity experts called it a mirror event, not just a hack, but a reflection of human weakness. One said, "We spend billions building digital walls, but we forget that people are always the weakest link." Years later, Graham's story remains legendary in hacker circles. Some see him as a cautionary tale, a genius who flew too close to the sun. Others see him as proof that the biggest systems can still be brought down by one determined individual. He doesn't give interviews now. He lives quietly under supervision, forbidden to use most technology. But somewhere out there, the Bitcoin wallet from that day still exists, frozen on the blockchain, untouchable, a silent reminder of the moment when the world's loudest social platform was hijacked by a whisper. And maybe that's the real lesson. Not that systems can be hacked, we already know that. The lesson is that belief can be hacked too. The victims didn't lose money because their accounts were compromised. They lost it because they trusted what they saw. A blue check mark, a familiar name, a promise too good to ignore. It's not the code that failed that day. It was human nature. At 3:15 p.m., Elon Musk tweeted, "Feeling generous. Send Bitcoin and I'll send it back. Doubled." And for a moment, the entire world believed it.